and food therapy. A proud mother of 4 kids also, and One Health concept is a full part of her life. Destiny brought her to India through the posting of her husband in Chennai as a Belgian trade commissioner. They lived in India for 4.5 years, and in India, she advised families to use their pet re-empowering ancient remedies. They are like the Belgian cut diamonds, the best in the world. Back in the Belgium since May 2020, her daily life is a mix of practicing, teaching integrative veterinary medicine and taking care of her family and the land they live on. So now I request Dr. Juliet Decasteker ma'am to deliver her lecture on application of ethno-veterinary knowledge in small animal practice. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. I will share my screen. So hello, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to actually talk about that passion that I have now also for Pashu Ayurveda since I've been living in India. And to just give a small introduction, I wanted just today to show other veterinarians, not only in India, but also in the world, that it is possible to use Pashu Ayurveda or traditional medicine, ethno-veterinary formulations in your daily small animal practice. And there I wanted to emphasize on the small animals because I had to put something for only small animals today as I only have a half an hour. But yeah, I wanted to show you through my, through my practice, how I went into Ayurveda. Because we always have a definition for alternative medicine. We say that Pashu Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, that is alternative medicine. But for me, I'm practicing traditional medicine, like I say, medicine that is actually for me the basic medicine to heal, to treat a body and a mind that is in imbalance. So I have been practicing holistic medicine since 2012, but I graduated in 2006 as a normal vet, where I learned Western medicine. But since 2012, I've been practicing Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, so mainly acupuncture, Chinese nutritherapy, Chinese herbal formulation. So the pharmacopoeia that I use the most next to the Ayurveda would be the Chinese formulations, and I use Tuina. And in Indian medicine, I will use ethno-veterinary formulations, the Indian herbal medicine from the kitchen to the garden. So sometimes I go really to the simple herbs that are growing in the backyard and that are available on the kitchen shelf, because for me that makes that I can touch much more people, even people who don't have a lot of money to treat, but everything is growing, and this can be already a start to treat. If you think Indian medicine, Pashu Ayurveda, 90% of all traditional medicine, for me, they share roots. And what is this roots that we have to do when we work for traditional medicine? That is thinking that it is a treatment that have been used for more than 5,000 years. If you compare that to Western medicine that is only 200 years old. And healers have been using herbs that grow in different climates, and they were adapting to the culture, to what the lifestyle was. And the aim of those traditional medicines is to rebalance the individual that is in front of the practitioner. And what I really like is, for me, it's my practice. I have to practice to gather more knowledge. I see something in front of me, I analyze, I take my pulse diagnosis, I take my tongue diagnosis. I try to find how I can rebalance, bring balance inside the animal to be able to adapt to the environment. So the animal is capable of living with the people around him, with its environment, and the spirit and his spirit and body are linked. I studied Pashu Ayurveda with Professor Nair, with Dr. Kumar at TDU Bangalore. So I'm grateful for my masters, my teachers. They will introduce me to the world of Pashu Ayurveda during the time I was living in India. And for me, TDU is a university that brings a scientific view to traditions of healing. What our modern world needs proof for. So I live in a Western world, and in the Western world, science has to prove everything. So science has to explain everything. Me, even if I'm from the Western world, I like to start to learn from what's working on the field. So if something works on the field, somebody teaches me something, so a healer tells me, we use these herbs for this pattern, for this imbalance, and that works for me, that's enough. I don't need that scientific proof. But TDU, if I would summarize TDU for me, TDU brings it nicely, makes the bridge into that field work, what is working there, what people have been doing for centuries, so many different ways of healing, and they gonna put that knowledge together based on scientific studies. So that is what I appreciated. For me, still, I will be the vet that goes in the small villages, that goes there, learns, observes, and then will practice it, or maybe adapt it to where I am. So that's why I actually will use Chinese medicine, I will use homeopathy, I will use Pashu Ayurveda, I will use whatever is available in front of me and adapt to the situation. So I'm not only one mainstream traditional knowledge vet, because I feel that this for me helps more people and more animals. And in this little presentation, I wanted to talk about cases, real cases from India and from abroad that I treated with a mixture of traditional medicine. So this is, for example, Beam and Nala were two. Beam is a golden retriever that came in. People called me to say like it has a very low hematocrit, very big anemia. So in Chinese medicine, we talk also about blood deficiency. We needed to tonify him. So they have tried everything. He was meant to have a blood transfusion 2 days later, but thanks to, so that was Beam, the state he was in when he was brought to me. So he was, don't have his, how do you say, I don't have his mucosa to show you that he was already very anemic. And so what did we do here? I used the brucellosis ethno-veterinary formulation that I learned, and I adapted it to the small animals. So here you see the mixture of herbs I used and asked them to give. So it goes from cumin to black pepper to turmeric. Holy basil was in there, henna, moringa, tinospora, betel leaves. All of this was grateful to have around, and people prepared the preparation. So here I tell you how to do it, but it was by soaking the seeds, and then the owners made it fresh every day, and only like 48 hours after, Beam was already much better. He was barking, and this was the video I received. So people were happy that he got out of the very amorph state. So they were actually very excited to see that this dog was actually described for, they wanted to euthanize him, and they wanted to do as in a last, how do you say, to save him in a last safety chance was to give him a blood transfusion, but only with the herbs and needling and acupuncture he went through it. This is also a nice explanation to see what we can use in small animals, even topically. This is Pluto. Pluto had damp heat in the skin, so had very, very red swollen ears around his, also around his eyes. So we could say in a Western, as a Western diagnosis, it was malassezia overgrowth, but we can diagnose it with Pashu Ayurveda and with Chinese medicine. And so for this dermatitis problem, this is also a cat with a fungal infection. And for these ones, I used also ethno-veterinary formulations, and I asked the owners to grind it all together. So using Azadirachtica indica, henna, holy basil, sesame seed oil, garlic, and turmeric. We ground everything together and slightly heated it in the sesame oil, and applied it for once a day on the irritated skin for 3 weeks. And after, well, Pluto had no, here you see Pluto after, and Austin, well, I don't have her back legs as an after, but it was very, very nice. Another really nice example was to use it in together with when Western medicine would say there is cancer, so it's nothing to do anymore. This cat had surgery for a fibrosarcoma once, but the mass came back and grew even bigger. So here I'm actually circling the dragon, and I'm using a paste topically on the open cancer. So without feeding the tumor cells, but tonifying from the inside the immunity of the cat, and applying topically a wound formula with Indian nettle, with Acalypha indica, with garlic, with coconut oil and holy basil, and it was was great. Sorry if you hear, it's one of my kids that passed behind me. So it's to show that this is, it's very powerful what you can do with herbs that actually grow just in the backyard. And when I was living in India, it was really interesting to see that people just would throw Acalypha indica just in the bin as it was a bad weed. But for me, it was not a bad weed at all. And even garlic, we put garlic in everything we eat. Coconut oil is so easily available. So yeah, this is a nice example about what traditional medicine can do. This was actually cancer mess for my own dog, where I actually will show you that when we work, we actually are sometimes the worst vet for our own animals. And this was my own dog who was diagnosed with a carcinoma on the belly when he was only 5 years old. And this is my dog who lived for 16 years. So, and only thing I did actually was acupuncture, and I used how do you say, food therapy, Chinese nutrition food therapy, to help with shrinking the mass. Xena is a boxer. And that was when I was living in Chennai, where I used Purnanavasa Gugul on her because she had polycystic kidneys, and she had elevated creatine bun levels, and even her ratio and her SDMA was really bad. So the dog was really bad, had to be on a drip every day, and only using actually Purnanavasa Gugul in a first as a first line treatment with changing the food, she healed. Yes, and she could not actually stand on her leg. When I first saw her, she was so weak. It's just I wanted to give you this presentation to show you that we have so many possibilities. So you see all these ranges of diseases that can be addressed with Pashu Ayurveda. Because, like, for example, also arthrosis. Arthrosis is for us a symptom. It's not a disease like in the Western world would say. That's how I apply traditional medicine. I try to see the whole animal. I observe the animal. I try to make a puzzle with the symptoms. I get to a diagnostic. I get to a traditional medicine diagnosis, and then I go for a treatment strategy. And that is why I say I can implement needles for it, but I also implement herbal formulations for it. And this was Rocky, who had arthrosis with very big joint pain. There was swelling without fluid accumulation. So all this is really interesting when you learn about Pashu Ayurveda, that this is how you actually gonna make your diagnosis. It's not just simply saying there is arthrosis and I need this protocol for the arthrosis. No, arthrosis in one dog is not the same as in another. And in the case of Rocky, actually I applied regularly just simply sesame oil plus 10 grams of turmeric powder and 1 clove of garlic on his painful hips, because there was hip dysplasia diagnosis, and his knees and his articulations. So just mixing the garlic and the turmeric into a paste and slightly heated into the sesame oil. And I asked the owner to do this. And well, Rocky, I got a message last year that Rocky died, but he was yes, he was on his 60. He was 16. He got 16. And this is a dog with very bad arthrosis that cannot stand up. And I have to say, he was not on any other painkiller or whatever. This video was to show that that was a dog that when I first saw him, he couldn't stand up. And even on a floor like this, he would be sliding. Another example in a kitten this time would be diarrhea Atisar. So the diagnosis of the how do you say, the presentation of Atisar as a imbalance in a kitten. And for this, I used the Helminthiasis Veterinary formula. To this Atisar, this was what for me covered the best all the symptoms of the presentation of the Atisar this kitten was presenting. So it was already dewormed normally, but it was not better at all after weeks. And still I used the Helminthiasis Veterinary formula because of the heat symptoms I had, the muscle waste. So like I say, the basic diagnosis is so important. This is something different, and this is what I say. My best patients in India were the Indies, because they are so in tune with the energy of the herbs and the energy of the food, with the culture. And Pashu Ayurveda is for me just should be a daily subject in most of the families. And when they came to me, I explained them about the importance of the land and importance of the preservation of whatever was around them. And this indie actually was a very anxious indie. So even behavior can be how do you say, most of the diseases can also have a cause in the behavior. That behavior will create a physical problem later on. So just by treating this sunshine with itchy skin problems, so there was wind invading, making that there was also an underlying blood deficiency, which also explained the severe anxiety. That dog would be laying under the bed in the first time I saw her, and now she was actually relaxing with her needles. So yeah, Pashu Ayurveda has such a big application also to help with behavior problems, and from that it will help with the physical problems that can be present in an animal. So to really talk to you, I would say don't use a cookbook. So Pashu Ayurveda is not easy. It's something that we have to learn. We have to master the tastes of herbs. We have to master the whole how it works. It's not just a formula for a disease that we have an allopathic diagnosis for. It is what is in front of me. What is the pulse of this animal? What is the tongue? What do I palpate? The observation, the anamnesis. Does the animal like cold places, warm places? Is the animal tired? Is the animal very energetic? And this will help me to put all the pieces of my Pashu Ayurveda together, and then have to adapt the treatment with the Ayurveda formula. Or if I cannot do that, then I use the food, because I have learned what the food would do on the body. It's not just to say this food has so much selenium and zinc. No, it would be like I would say kirai in Tamil Nadu would be more cooling to the body, would help the liver. And I would say this is what I learned with the herbs, and even in the Ayurveda, and this is how I work. Yes, so food is medicine also for me, and medicine is food. So my biggest thing in my practice is about the food, and that's why Pashu Ayurveda is so important. I always tell to my clients, we start with the food, and the concentrated food, if I really need something very strong, well, then I will go for the formulation. So the herbs are for me the concentrated form of food. But traditional medicine is not only one branch, it's a multiple branch. Like in Chinese medicine, it would be the acupuncture together with the Chinese pharmacopoeia, together with the food. And in Ayurveda, it's the same. Yoga is part of your Ayurvedic treatment. So in Ayurveda, there is one principle: if the gut microbiome is in good shape, then everything gets okay. And this, I feel, that is so important, that I will work in prevention on the good food, even if it's a big or small animal. I will make or prepare for the very small animal friends a wholesome, species appropriate diet. And in all cases, inappropriate diet has been used as food, as a basic medicine for a healthy, happy pet for me. So it can also only be using simple spices like ginger, fenugreek seeds, turmeric, cardamom. We can already start from there. So to finish this little introduction, I would say that a healer's power stems not from any special ability, but from maintaining the courage and awareness to embody and express the universal healing power that every human being naturally possesses. And this is for me so important, that I became passionate about it, because for me it was there, available. It is in India. You live through the culture. The food is part of your daily practices, and sometimes we got it lost, that people don't know how important it is, that actually your lifestyle will actually be your healer. And that's why I'm happy that I was invited today to spread the little seed to more veterinarians out there in the world about your traditional Pashu Ayurveda knowledge. So I would say thank you all for listening to me now, and hope to see most of you one day live when I can. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your valuable knowledge and experience in ethno-veterinary practices in small animals. You have cured many diseases like tick fever, fibrosarcoma, and polycystic kidney, and many critical diseases using ethno-veterinary practices. You have shared with us the formulations and how you treated, and you have also explained how diet and lifestyle is important, and important in life to avoid diseases. And thank you, ma'am, for sharing your this information, and it is definitely helpful for all of us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and all the best with the Congress. Wished I was there, could be there, but it's not possible this year for me.
Okay, ma'am, no problem. In next you can join.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we will take questions from the audience. Dear participants, if anyone have questions or queries, you can directly ask to ma'am or put it in the chat box.
Okay, I will share the PowerPoint maybe with Dr. Bimal. Then you can maybe dispatch it afterwards. Is that okay?
Madam.
Yeah, it's fine, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So I will share my PowerPoint. I will send it to you by email, and then anyone who wants the PowerPoint can have it then. Yes.
Hello, Juliet.
Hi, Doctor. Hi, Professor Punyamurthy. How are you?
How are you, Juliet? I'm eager to know your. You must be doing very fine.
Okay.
Hello? Your daughter must be doing fine.
Yes, they are all good. They're all good. I send them outside the time I was presenting, but yeah, if anybody wants to see them, they will come to say you hello by the screen.
Yeah, they are most welcome.
Thank you.
So this is the tradition we would like to take beyond individuals, and we should carry it to our families and make them so well.
One note, sir, your voice is breaking.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Your voice is breaking.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I think we are very eager to listen to your thought. And it was a nice presentation by Juliet. And she has the opportunity to travel to so many countries thanks to her husband's job and her inclination to learn as a veterinarian. She has done a monumentous task of meeting so many people, coming in contact with so many traditions. That is an eye opener that people should be open-minded to embrace all that is coming. Anything which cures must be given a due credit. So I think that's a good thing Juliet has done in her thing, and she has got to go a long way in making more and more veterinarians join the bandwagon to think about a holistic approach in animals first and then later human beings.
Yes, thank you. That's why I say I like to share that it's possible to learn, and then everything that is kind of natural and no harm, and that will benefit to one health is so important. And if we as a vet can show that already in our daily practice, it's really important. Yes, that there is not only one way of doing veterinary medicine. No.
That's great.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yes.
Ma'am, actually, we are very much habituated in taking all the medicine, taking the allopathy medicines, and we are even using the allopathy medicines for even a small disease also in veterinary practice also. So and not only our body but also the body of the animals also habituated of taking the allopathy medicines. So do you think in this perspective that if you will use the homeopathy or Ayurvedic medicine, that will be so much effective?
Yes.
And that effectiveness could will be as much as faster than the allopathy medicine?
I have to say there's a difference. The difference with allopathic medicine is that you treat a symptom. You want not to see a symptom anymore. And I don't say for that the animal or the human is cured, because we use an anti-inflammatory to subdue, inflammation. We use antihistaminicum, but we don't cure. We take out the symptom with our simple allopathic medicine. It's quick, and that's what people want. People want something quick and effective. What I would say, the difference is with Pashu Ayurveda is that you will go for the root of the disease. There you will see what is really in imbalance, what is really missing in that animal to live in an optimal balance with the environment. So it's as effective, even better on the long term, to use your Pashu Ayurveda than your allopathic medicine, because for me allopathic medicine doesn't cure. How do you say, it's not the word curing is different. It's taking out a symptom, and so Pashu Ayurveda can go very quickly too. It's just a lifestyle difference. It's a way of us veterinarians showing people that it's possible just by changing the food of an animal, just by using simple herbs, that it is as effective as an antibiotic or a painkiller. I don't say I don't use it, but I use much less. I mean, you can actually decrease the side effects of most of the allopathic drugs. We have to be integrative vets, like I say. And if people tell me I'm a holistic veterinarian in the way of diagnosing, but I'm an integrative veterinarian. If I need to do blood test, I will do blood test. I will go for antibiotics when is needed, but I will be much more precise and I will cause less harm.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Any more questions?
Hello, Dr. Juliet.
Hi.
You very often you showed in your slides about homeopathy, but you did not mention the name of any homeopathic medicine which was given in any of the case mentioned by you.
Okay, so
can you cite one or two names which was given in your kidney cyst or sarcoma case or Tisar or any of the condition? What homeopathy you are giving?
Calcium phos. I was giving just calcium phos in my fibrosarcoma. But most of the time I will use homeopathy the unicystic way. So again, seeing all the emotions together, and I will use my material medica to say, like, in this case I need this homeopathy. So it's most of the time again using homeopathy the unicyst way. So other homeopathy I would have used was some arsenicum album, lower dilutions. So otherwise Nux vomica I used too in the case and I Sina rubra in Sina I was using in the tick fever, for example. But then again, I will use different homeopathics depending on what I need. In this tick fever, for example, I was using Sina. In another tick fever, I will use another homeopathy, because tick fever is the allopathic name. Depending on the symptoms and the emotions, that would change.
Thank you very much, because homeopathic is also very fruitful in many of the conditions, especially for wound healing.
Yeah.
Wound healing, I have seen due to this infight of dogs and even the cattle who face traumatic injury by falling in the open well or at some places on ditches. We give some of my neighbor, she gives Arnica 30, and it is very easy to be administered by the animals along with the biscuit, this tincture, and all they recover. Even the chronic wound, they have to recover within the 15 days or 1 month. And the skin is normal, the muscle and all things are normal. In homeopathy also there is a very great strength. I am very much thankful. You have studied Ayurveda, you have understood the principles of Ayurveda, and you have relied and you have started treatment on it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I use, for example, carbon vegetalis and wound healing. I would use calendula. I will use hypericum if I need to.
And yes, it's really fine.
Great.
Thank you. Dr. Meher, you can start.
Okay, so we'll move to next lecture. Now I would like to welcome Professor M.N. Balakrishnan Nair sir, a Professor Emeritus and Head of the Center for Ethnoveterinary Science and Practices at the Transdisciplinary University. He has more than 38 years of research and teaching experience, and has worked with organizations such as Birla Institute of Technology and Science, Pilani, Sardar Patel University, Department of Botany at University of Delhi, UPM, Malaysia, Pyramid Development Society, and IIM Ahmedabad before joining TDU. As an avid traveler, Dr. Nair has visited 23 countries as well. He has 39 peer-reviewed papers, 6 books, 5 edited books, and 29 communications to scientific conferences, both in national and international. He has achieved many things in his life. He has documented ethno-veterinary practices from 24 locations in 10 states of India. He has rapidly assessed them using classical Ayurveda knowledge and established that 353 formulations out of 441 are safe and efficacious. In vitro antimicrobial activity of the extracts of the herbal formulations against mastitis had inhibitory activity against E. coli and Staphylococcus aureus. His clinical studies using traditional formulation for mastitis showed that somatic cell count, electrical conductivity, and pH of the milk become normal within 6 days, indicating cure of mastitis. He has shown that traditional medicine can be used to reduce retention of placenta. He has demonstrated that the antibiotic residue in the milk can be reduced by 88% in 1 year time using ethno-veterinary practices formulation. He has also demonstrated that adopting the ethno-veterinary science and practices to combat infectious diseases in livestock has been a key game changer in the use of antibiotic and other veterinary drugs in veterinary practices. He is now also working with NDDB, Amul, BEF, Government of Sikkim and Haryana, and 30 milk unions from 14 states. Now I request Professor M.N. Balakrishnan Nair sir to deliver his lecture on ethno-veterinary science and practices, a changer in the 21st century. Over to you, sir. Sir, you are not audible, sir.
Okay. Now,
Sir, you have to unmute yourself.
yeah, I unmuted. Now, can you hear now? Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you can see the slide also, Hello. Can you see the slides?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay. So, I present this work on behalf of all the people, the knowledge holders, Professor Punimurthy, who was our partner, and all my colleagues and our partners, that is Tanuvers, National Dairy Development Board, milk unions from 14 states, Kerala State Veterinary Council, several trained veterinarians, village resource persons, officers from the milk unions and farmers, Department of Science of India, ETC Foundation Netherlands, NLF Foundation, Lom Shiva, that is NLF India, NLF Netherlands, NLF Ethiopia, NLF Uganda, who are all directly or indirectly associated with the developing and mainstreaming ethno-veterinary science and practices. Why ethno-veterinary practices? It is a decentralized local knowledge and a resource-specific healthcare management regime. Can be prepared and used by farmers themselves as the first respond to primary healthcare needs of animal It is cost-effective and efficacious practices. It reduces the use of antimicrobial and other chemical veterinary drugs. Rationale for using these practices. The dairy sector in India is an important component in rural livelihood. You all know that. To enhance the production of milk, a crossbreeding strategy with exotic breed has been introduced in India in 1960s. Side effect on this strategy was a high disease incidence in crossbreed animal. Extended use of antimicrobials without effective implementation of regulatory policy leading to high veterinary drug residue in the animal products like milk. High treatment cost, and then threat to human health due to AMR, which is worldwide problem today. Loss of local breeds, which has resistance to many diseases. Weak animal and poor farm management, reduced milk quality. Alternative approach. Efficacious and safe ethno-veterinary practices or herbal formulations are available in India. They are used in preventing and curing certain clinical conditions in livestock, therefore reduce the drug residue in the milk. Traditional system of medicine, there are two streams. One is codified system. Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, Tibetan is based on the theory of physiological functioning, disease etiology, and clinical practice. It is legal in India. Non-codified or oral or folk tradition are sold as humankind. Symbolic relation with the codified system, dynamic, innovative, evolving, spread across 4,639 ethnic communities all over India. They are location and ethnic community specific, health-related practices, lifestyles, food habit, customs, and beliefs. So the classical Ayurveda is not much used presently, except for one family in Guruvayur, that is in Kerala. The person who is using that is the Brahmasri Nakeri Vasudevan Nambudiri. He is the chairman of one educational trust registered so and so in Mogambiga Road, Nakeri Mana, Guruvayur. He also did Hastayurveda. They are doing one diploma course on Hastayurveda. Education Study and Research Center, Sri Mogambiga Road, Guruvayur. His contact number is given. That is the only person now I know who is practicing the classical Ayurveda, Ayurveda texts and using them for the treatment of elephant. They only have for elephant. This is the way he used it. These are all the Shastra he is using. This is Madang Leda, and then Balakapya he used. You can imagine Madang 18 chapters, 7th chapter onwards, and then there are the 4 divisions. So that is the only place where the classical Ayurveda is used. The other part is the ethno-veterinary practices are exist in India, all over India, for not only cows, lot of other animals. And then they use around 6,500 plants, 2,200 animal and other resources, 50,000 herbal formulations. EVP in India, one of the key challenges is to find out the effectiveness and contemporary relevance of these practices, that is EVP practices, their safety and efficacy. That is a major concern. Revalidating these formulations based on Western pharmacology is a cross-cultural or transdisciplinary exercise. So what we do is that first documentation and rapid assessment. That is one of the process which we are developed. We are using in the TDU for quite a long time for human as well as animal. So we are only asked the introduction. They told that TDU and carnivores together had documented ethno-veterinary practices from 24 locations from 10 states, established that 353 out of 441 formulations documented are safe and efficacious. Now it is 24, around 34 remedies have been gone through clinical observation studies. This is one of the sessions where we are documenting. You can see Professor Purnimurthy sir and all the people who are working with us. And this is a method by which we are doing documentation and assessment. Identification of EVP first, prioritization of health condition, then document them repeatedly by visiting the healers or knowledgeable person. Then what we do is that we'll assess them with Ayurveda. That is a depth research is done. We'll find out whether the same plants are used in Ayurveda or what is their property, whether we can correlate with them with the literature references. Then we do a rapid assessment. And once it is found that it is safe and efficacious, we'll promote them, program as training, veterinarian farmers, home herbal garden, etc. Yeah. We can also go to clinical trials of selected veterinary practices, then enterprise development and product development. This is what we do. It is not that simple. It is a whole process is there. But however, this is the way we conducted the whole process. So rapid assessment is involves a judicial blend of local experience, that is the healers, clinical experience of ISM, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, and Sharikpa, Western medicine. We have expertise from the Western medicine. We got actually the local persons. We also got a botanist also with us, so that whatever plant is used is correct or not, we certify with them. How you relate to the scientific evidence? The degree of effectiveness of the folk medicine is impressive, as it ranges from 60 to 70%. Because of the high effectiveness of herbal formulations indicates that they have been obviously designed with a pharmacological logic. The logic is based on Ayurveda pharmacology called Devaguna. That's why it is related to the Pashu Ayurveda. Because even though it's a folk medicine which does not include in the classical one, we assess it and find out what is the logic used for preparing that particular combinations. So revalidating these formulations based on Western pharmacology is a cross-cultural or transdisciplinary exercise. I'll give some example later on, then you will understand what it means. It would require extensive studies on advanced combinatorial chemistry, as polyherbals are involved in that. Need systematic experimental pharmacology studies with innovative bioassays, because the conventional bioassays are far too fractured and inadequate to detect simultaneous change in the multiple transactions. What I mean to say is that the protocol which is used in the Western science is not enough to find out the simultaneous changes in the multiple transactions. So we have to use some sort of transdisciplinary understanding. How it is done, I will explain later. So current approach on creating objective and verifiable standard for traditional knowledge products and concepts is one-sided. Therefore, an intellectual in a subjective and objective approach involving consultation between traditional and Western health sciences is necessary to promote mutual understanding, which could create relevant quality standards. Maybe you might have heard Juliet talk. She is using all her knowledge, Western as well as Indian knowledge system as well as Chinese knowledge system, to find out what is the relevant quality standards. So we define transdisciplinary studies as understanding and describing of universe through different worldviews and epistemologies of various knowledge systems. Evolved research methodology that accommodate two different epistemologies, that is holistic system framework and traditional knowledge with reductionist and structural framework of Western science. This is our challenge actually, to create that. How we'll do it? One example I'll give you. This is an example for EVP remedy for mastitis. You got aloe vera, turmeric, hydroxide, you mix it together. The mixer will be look like this. We can also grind it in a spoon, and where there is no mixie, grinder is not available. Then applied, this is a process of Pundamurti cows. This is mastitis one, applied after 6 days, it becomes normal. If you have hardened under, then use scissors quadrangles also with the paste. And then the assessment through Ayurveda, I am not going into detail of the final assessment, is that this formula consists of Cocoma longa, aloe vera, calcium hydroxide, that is turmeric, aloe vera and calcium hydroxide. It has got the properties. Varna Shodhaka means wound cleanser, Varna Ropaka means wound healing, And very good Sodhara means anti-inflammatory, Puttirodhara means anti-infective, Krimihara means antimicrobial. Antimicrobial here means that it doesn't kill the microbes as such, it will produce a situation where the microbes cannot grow, divide much. You will see that the environment in the udder will be that the microbes will not divide. So therefore, we say that this remedy is very much beneficial for mastitis. Once this is done, then we go to the field. This is the references used in Ayurveda, Bhava Prakasha, Devam Nigandu, Raja Nigandu, Shodala Nigandu. Like that, all these Ayurveda texts are referred here so that if people want to know how we did, they can go and refer the references. So after that, this is a work done by Professor Purnamurthy. This is published data. The antimicrobial activity of aqueous ethanol and ethyl acetate extract obtained from the aloe vera and curcuma longa aside in vitro using agar-well diffusion method exhibited antimicrobial activity. So I have already told you the first part of it, Ayurveda part of it, how we assess them. Now we are talking about how we can do the Western science or the conventional science to find out whether this is working or not. So this is all the published data, Professor Punyamurthy and others. So they found that it exhibited that the antimicrobial activity against E. coli, Staphylococcus aureus, Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Next is, again, we did a clinical trial with 27 cows, and the blue one is before the treatment, the red one is after treatment, and the green one is a normal cow, because we are compared the the three groups. So this also is published. This is a paper we are referred it here, and we found that all these situation will come to normal. That is, pH is one of the criteria we use. Electrical conductivity of milk and somatic cell count all became normal after 6 days treatment. Then the Professor Punyamurthy and team has done a reverse pharmacological study. The bioactive compounds were tested for its effect against the target protein of Staphylococcus aureus using molecular docking study. This is also published data. This reference is given here. And they also study many active compounds of aloe vera and turmeric interact with target protein. The components on lime had lesser interaction with the lesser affinity, but the pharmacodynamic studies using online server pass revealed that the compound in the preparation possesses anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial property. Professor Purnamurthy et al. In 2009 is published data. And we also did a microbiome study. Because we had a limited number of, we could only take a limited number, only 5 cows we could take because the resource was less. This is a bar phylum level of bacterial abundance in 64 samples. This is a study we done with the antibiotic treated cow. We had 2 cows treated with antibiotics. We can see the reduction of the Staphylococcus and Streptococcus. The Staphylococcus is the red one, the other one is the blue one. And this is the ethanoveterinary treated one. See, this is the Streptococcus, this is Staphylococcus, but the 6 days it also becomes very normal. That's why we say that you use it for 5 days, need minimum. You don't stop it after 3 days, where the reduction is on. So you can see the chart on that. This is a healthy cow, CMT negative, where there was no mastitis detected. The Staphylococcus 4.6 is almost the same in all the 3 days. This is the F2 is the F1 is the front. All I collected from all 4 cortex. That's why it's shown like that. All the cortex almost same. But this is the antibiotic treated one. You can see that. But in some cases, the bacteria did not come. Just for example, Enterobacteriaceae family did not come down. It was not there when the 6th day it become more. In some cases, Staphylococcus also become more. Maybe I cannot say why it is there. Maybe it is actually resistance might have been there, or That I have not checked up, but there is a evidence that it in some cases it is becoming more on the 6th day. These are Moxel forte treated for 3 days. This is a situation before treatment. After 3 days it reduced, but after 6 days again showing some of them increase. Streptococcus increase, then Staphylococcus also a little increase, and then Enterobacteriaceae is also very high. So that is the antibiotic treated cases. This is a case where ethanomethanate treated animal. This is the first day. There is a slight increase in certain cases, but the 6th day everything has become below 2 point or 5 point, below 5%. The abundance has become 5%. All Staphylococcus as well as the Staphylococcus 59 went to 5.4. Pseudomonas it increased and then gone to 1.9. So it shows that there's a reduction of Marcellin microbe. Genus level bacteria in the second cow, you can see that there's a high level of Staphylococcus, Streptococcus. These all F1, F2 and all these for quarters. That's why I had shown it like that separately. But every one of them reduced, systematically reduced, every one of them reduced, except for Pseudomonas, it was reduced to minimum after 6 days. This is the third one cow. There also we can see the high level of UVP before the treatment. It all came to normal level after the 6 days of treatment. I also, the same thing has been made into a spray. 4 bottles Lalo, final combination is selected in January, then field study is done. The first study, about 19 cases, we got 90%. The third study is going on. Herbal formulation, massages had inhibitory activity against E. coli, Staphylococcus aureus. A lab study is done on that. Then we have the microbiome, the same thing I told you, what we have done. The Staphylococcus reduced to 2.6 times. I have 12.52 times. And the Pseudomonas around 10.6 time. Plasmella about 32.31 time. And Enterobacteria around 14.3. And toxic study is done, non-toxic. Plant patent, we have already supplied for a patent. Shelf life is about more than 1 year. Phytochemistry study and clinical trial, we have to do it. So feedback from various milk society from NADP to enough. Efficacy of EVP 24 clinical condition cattle from 2017 to 2021-22. But this number now 5 lakh cases, now it is 7.5 lakhs, the latest data. I don't have details, so I did not put in this. About 5,43,745 cases, 4,42,337 is cured. That is almost an average 81%, 81.5% cure on an average. And there is another organization where we are training the people, that is About Company Limited. There also it has been shown that 90 all the cases about 90 to 100%, because the number is less. That's why the personnel is more. The NADP, the flag sheet, there is reduction of CMD test positivity 49%, antibiotic residue about 60 to 85%. They save around 8.6 lakh per month as the cost of antibiotics. 82% cure rate on UVM for masses of 75,000 cases. This is a masses alone. Cure for the EVM for other element about 86%. On intervention impact study, I tested about 32 brands in the southern India. All of them except one, Amul, Taja and Swastik milk, all of the other milk samples also got positive, antibiotic positive. But this is international standard, quarters level. Some people are telling Indian level it may not be there, but then I kept the international level. Then the next one is I already in the introduction, she told that I am able to intervene in a particular place by the support of Department of Science and Technology. 200 cows, out of that 60 controlled, 140 the intervention group, 87.86% of reduction of antibiotic residue in the milk. These two had low positive about 7.85, positive on 4.28. We traced back the farmers and asked, why did you use antibiotics? Because they have been terrorized that if you don't use antibiotics, the cow may die. So therefore, they use antibiotic. But the 123 out of 140 have not used antibiotic, and there was no possibility of even detecting the antibiotic rescue there. So we also tested for the presence of streptomycin, neomycin, and chloromphenical, but none of them present in the sample tested. The cost, we can see that it is 3,000 for Western medicine, 120 for the EVP. Like that, in all the cases, market tool, they are saving such an amount of money, And then one report from Krishna Milk Union, repeat breeding, 97.74% cure, means the cow repeat breeder has been stopped, that being able to get. And our also say that when you use our medicine for prevention, mastitis is reduced up to about 83% by 2 years. First year about 44.4%. By 2019, 83.8% reduction in the incidence of mastitis. Incidence of enteritis 81.2 within 2 years. Repeat breeding about 95.7% reduction in the incidence. Cowpox almost 100% reduction. We also work with the international organization. This is Uganda Foundation for Natural Livestock Farming partners in Netherlands, Ethiopia, and Uganda. This is a program which we did for ticks at Uganda. And we also, as a collaboration with Ethiopia, we had an intervention there. 60% reduction in the calf mortality with our intervention, 50% increase in the milk production, 33% increase in the farm income, improved milk quality about 8%, antibiotic residue reduction, improved general content, fat, protein, lactose, solid, non-fat density, 50% and 30% reduction in E. coli and Staphylococcus aureus, specifically in the milk. And this is a NLF, TDU NLF India filed a strategy to reduce antibiotic use. One is improve animal farm management, except for Netherlands, we cannot do much about that. So we have not done enough strategy use of local breed. We have started in some places, we could not do it enough. But major thing what we did is use of medicinal plant for not only cure the disease, but also for improving the or reducing the incidence of mastitis. Milk quality control and payment is not done properly because nobody is ready to pay more for good milk which is coming. In some cases, they are doing it. So milk quality control we see that if it is antimicrobial residue-free milk, then they should be able to give more money to the farmer. Then only it will be sustained. We work with our 14 states, about 34 milk unions. And what India can share with others is the train and document EVP and resources and validation of EVP, train stakeholders on use of herbal medicine on livestock primary health care and reduce antimicrobial residue in the animal products, establish home institutional gardens, pilot with the herbal remedies. We have some example, we train in Mehsana, they have already started making the aloe vera grown in their institutional garden. There are some farmers, their own method to grow aloe vera in the hanging pots. There are home herbal gardens because they can use these plants for the primary health care need of their cow. There you can see these are some of the home garden, or these are some of the house-owned people. They have grown aloe vera. You can see in different ways. This is Cissus contractile, Adatoda, Tulsi, and then in the aloe vera in the bags. And we also train the farmers and other stakeholders how to use these veterinary practices by growing the plants in their home or by getting the plants from outside. And this is also done under a One Health umbrella because you know that all emerging diseases about 1,400 diseases, 75% is zoonotic disease. Therefore, it is very, very important to consider as a one concept. And then if you say that exposures in animal, clinical science in animal, exposure in human, clinical science in human, and human seeks medical care. So this is one of the thing. But then if it is an outbreak, you only know that we had a big outbreak for corona or COVID-19. Then it is very, very important that to prevent that one. And then what one not do is that the One Health, it is a One Health management approach to dairy production medicine with the premises that food safety and milk quality begin from the farm. This approach incorporates the one medicine, one health philosophy and can be implemented to address the previously discussed challenges on the food safety. Again, this seemingly unrelated industry present and it is not only the treatment only bring antibiotic to the milk or the all the animal products. There's a present is an avenue of antibiotic rescue to enter in the dairy farm, impacting food safety, human and animal health, are highlighted in the importance of a One Health approach to animal production. I'll see an example. The overlooked sector of antibiotic residue remains commercial ethanol production. Corn-based ethanol is produced in a fermentation process using yeast cultures. These cultures are often contaminated with lactic acid bacteria, and then which compete with nutrients and result in loss of yield of ethanol. In order to prevent proliferation of bacterial contaminants and limit yield loss, many ethanol producers use large amount of antibiotics in the fermentation process. What will happen? The residual corn mash and the slurry is sold as a animal feed, mainly to beef and dairy producers. The antibiotic residue in the animal feed has recently become a concern, and the dearth of scientific information on how these residues after microbiome or economically important agricultural animal products is unknown. We don't know how it is come, how much is affected, what is the residue available. All this thing is not known at all. Yeah. So these are concerns. So we think that we only treat animals, that's why the antibiotic residue will come, but that is not true. There are so many other ways also antibiotic residue will come to the animal products. And this is dairy production. You can see feed on hay, grain, forage, supply pharmaceuticals, equipment, disinfectant, drinking and water, drinking water, and then cleaning water, the milk, butter, cheese, whey, animal beef, carcasses, replacement of waste, manure, water, pharmaceutical, etc. So we have to be very careful. Not only that treatment it comes, otherwise also it will come. Though the promise of EVP, Indian knowledge system, present a systemic theory, biological change, and complement molecular biology. It has a history of extensive veterinary treatment system. Today, it makes sense to research ancient knowledge and bring out a natural and side effect-free treatment for livestock. And future solution for the global concern in network pharmacology, combinatorial chemistry, pharmacodynamics, and transdisciplinary framework that combine EVP, Ayurveda, and Western pharmacology are the future solution for the global concern about chemical residues in animal products and AMR. And then maybe one conclusion is adopting ethnoveterinary science and practices to combat infectious and other disease in the livestock has been identified and tested as a key game changer in reducing the use of antimicrobial and other chemical drugs in veterinary practice. This has been, we have already proved that we can reduce it. And maybe if there is a 2 minutes, I show one or two more slides where the LSD is one of the major problems nowadays in all over the country. I heard that 70,000 cows died. So we got a formulation for that. Maybe it was a Purnamurthy has given it. It has been used in several cases in NDDB areas. So these are the combinations. We got three material. That one is the first. We have to prepare a betel leaves, then pepper, black pepper, and salt. We call three kings. We call them three kings. Make a paste of it. 10 betel leaves, 10 number of black pepper, and 10 crystals. Make a paste, add jaggery, and feed them first. Then these are the other combinations we got. You know all this black pepper, dhania, jeera. This is shallot. It is called shallot. It's small onion, turmeric, betel leaves, tulsi, garlic. Then this is that leaf of Syzygium, which is used for making biryani and all things. This is neem leaves, the Androcavis paniculata, Osmum, basilicum, and carry. You prepare as a paste, again feed them 2 times minimum a day or 3 times in a day. And this is the oil which we have to make for wounds. Same tulsi, then Lawsonia enamels, Califa indica, neem, turmeric, and then garlic. You can use coconut oil or sesame oil. Don't apply it on that. Make a sort of small cotton or cloth bundle. Dip it on the oil and touch each lumps instead of rubbing on it. That is the best way to reduce the lumps. And that's what I want to share with you. I thanks once again for calling me and listening for my talk. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your vast knowledge and your work in detail on this ethno-veterinary practices in this short period of time. You have shared your references also and has explained how you have done your documentation and assessment works with data.
Thank you.
You have shared your work on mastitis, how EBP decreases the microbial load and antibiotic residue, and ultimately it is contributing towards One Health approach. And you have also shared your treatment regarding wound and LSDs. It was really a very nice and informative presentation, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if any clarification is there, I can answer that. That's why I said that the transdisciplinary approach is very, very essential. That's what I was telling.
Professor Nair, I have one question.
Please.
You know, as we are using the antibiotics, when we are getting oxytetracycline or ciprofloxacin, in that bottle it is written that you give for large animals this amount, and for the small ruminants you give this amount. So suppose you are taking a mastitis where you are saying that 250 gram of aloe vera, 30 gram of haldi, and 15 gram of calcium hydroxide to be taken. So can we say that it is for, how about this, use the same thing in case of goat? Should we make the same composition?
Same composition, but it is used in oil, not sesame oil or mustard oil or other oil, because you can use in oil for cows also. But what you have to do is that when you make it in water, you have to use it for at least 8 to 10 times. Same amount. But in the case of goat, the amount may be same, but if you are using water, the other shape is different. Maybe Punnimurthy sir is there, then he will be able to explain it much more systematically as a veterinarian. Was it Punnimurthy sir?
Sir.
Yeah. That goat.
So what is the question, sir?
The question was whether he can use the same way for goat. I said that goat we are using oil. The
which one? Which one, sir? Mastitis.
Yeah.
Actually, for mastitis, most of the times goats they don't identify so early, and anatomically, physiologically, there is a lot of difference between cattle and goat. Of even goats, different varieties, and it's many people may not know that sheep has got a reasonable incidence of mastitis too. The same preparation has got to be slightly modified. Of course, you can use oil base. Depending upon the situation, we can have the variations in terms of combinations also. We have done some good work, but the number is not much because you know you don't get cases like cattle in that. We can definitely use this same combination.
Yeah, thank you, sir. You know, there are some good organizations called as Pradhan. It's a professional development action network. So they have some, you know, master trainers who are illiterate, but still, you know, they are very much interested to use this system of veterinary practice. So when I came in contact with you and Professor Nair, I suggested them, you know, to follow the NDDB formula what you have developed with Sabarmati Ashram. So they were asking this, the you know, the fundamental questions. Sir, they have written for diarrhea, or they have written for retention placenta. Everything is there. Can you just replicate that in code? That was their question. So as Dr. Ajit could not join, that's why I'm asking the question on behalf of them.
Okay.
Dr. Bimal, in fact, like you know,
Yeah.
FMD, many abscess lesions involving viral diseases of the gastrointestinal tract. Generally, the dose rate is 1/4 of the cow. Adult cow, you can give to a goat as 1/4 of the dose.
Okay.
And there are some
sir.
issues
Thank
like,
you.
you know, we generally say do not drench in any animal, any of these preparations. Whatever be the thing, nothing should be drenched is one of the dangerous practices people are following. Even food-related materials or whatever the type of medicine, nothing should be drenched. And goats, it's very difficult to apply, so they have to have some special attention in taking a very strong metallic spoon, then make a fine paste. You know, we are very much used to electuary. In that sense, it will be made and applied over the base of the tongue on the upper palate. So that way it has got to be thing, but dose wise it is 1/4. You can safely tell them.
And we also train some people in the God Foundation. We did one training, 3 days training there, how to apply for goats and all things. We made them to prepare and then use it. But afterwards, we did not had any occasion to train more people.
But it's quite even in many parts of the states in southern where we are connected, sheep and goat population is very substantial. They are using the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. One thing, sir.
I think.
Hello,
yes,
Dr. Bimal. I have to speak few words.
Yes.
Actually, this formulation what has been mentioned by Professor Nair is a very excellent one. But what I would like to suggest, in case of mastitis and many other skin infections, even viral diseases, the use of neem, Azadirachta indica is there. In case of mastitis, you see in many village area, they spread the leaves of neem where the cow sleeps, so that the neem leaves comes in contact with the odor, and the mastitis is reduced in very often. So if in their pest, this neem leaves are some sort of formulation from neem can be added, I think that will be more helpful. Number two, regarding dose, pharmacologically the dose is always based on the body weight, whether it is cow or a goat or a human being. That is the dose is decided according to body weight. I think that will be more rational to decide the administration of medicines in case of goat, cow, or human being everywhere. Thank you. And that transdisciplinary university, they are working in a many multifaceted, diversified directions, because that institute originally FRLHT, Foundation of Revitalization of Local Health Tradition, then Institute of Ayurveda and Integrated Medicine, then transdisciplinary university. And what Professor Nair suggested, now it is the time to correlate ethnoveterinary practices as well as Murga Ayurveda or Pashu Ayurveda mentioned in Ayurveda, Gosastra, Ashwasastra, Gajasastra, etc., and also Western pharmacology. Otherwise, without scientific evidence, nobody will believe our data or our saying to anyone. And another point is that veterinary practices are thousands in number. While selecting any formulation from ethno-veterinary practices, the experienced veterinary doctors, along with the pharmacologist and some Ayurvedic expert, should sit together. They decide the formulation. They should decide both on classical principle as well as established scientific research data on the medicinal plants. Because many work has already been done for human on these medicinal plants. But all you are showing garlic, onion, aloe vera, curcuma longa, black pepper, most of the toxicity study, biological activity, they have been completed. So all these data can be considered while deciding a formulation. That is my suggestion. Thank you, sir, for your valuable presentation.
What I did is I did an overall understanding and give one example of mastitis as how we have to do it. So we can do every formulation based on our understanding. I thought that I will give one example so that you understand how it is done. That's why it's limited to mastitis only. And then LSD I told only because LSD is now, it's a pandemic in country. That's why I told LSD. I have cured a substantial number of animals in Kerala LSD by using it. The only thing is that I had a fieldman helping the farmers to use it, how to make it and use it. Unless you use it properly, then it will take more time. That's the only difference. Yeah.
Sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Professor Santana Pillai, he is assistant professor at the Department of Pharmacology and Toxicology. She has a query. Professor Santana.
Good evening, everyone. As
Yeah,
he
yeah.
introduced, I'm Dr. Santana. Sir, I have just one question. I just wanted to ask, are polyherbal formulations always good? How we are choosing polyherbal combinations? Because when we are studying one component or one plant we are taking. So how we can reach for a polyherbal formulation on basis of what, sir?
Yeah, but see, each dravya, we call in Ayurveda dravya, it has got a property. For example, mastitis is a pitta-related disease. So pitta violation occurred. So to bring back it to the normal, we use the plant which can reduce that pitta violation to normalcy. So Ayurvedic understanding is there. First we assess with Ayurveda. That's why we assess with Ayurveda, that combination, because single drug is not very good for combination drug is the best. And once it is say that this Ayurvedically it is efficacious and safe, then we field test it. You understand? That field test, if it is successful only, we will go ahead with the other studies. You know? We will not promote unless and it is very efficacious. And all our combinations are very efficacious. That's why people are using it. Otherwise, nobody will use it. But the combination what we found it finding is based on the property of each dravya, whether it can be made into combination. That is based mainly of an Ayurveda person.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Santwana madam. Santwana madam.
Sir.
Dr. Kumar here.
Sir.
To address your query, day after tomorrow, I'm going to take lecture on understanding about the combination and formulation based on the Dravyaguna principle of Ayurveda. I think you learn more on day after tomorrow's class.
Okay, sir.
So
okay,
make
sir.
you to understand why we need combinations of herbs to say.
Sir.
So yeah, we will discuss on Saturday's lecture on that.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sandhana is from Palai.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm Palai.
I am sitting in Palai. My house is also a Pala, Chakamra. Yeah. I just thought that I am.
Sir.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Your presentation was very good, sir. Really.
Yeah, I have given an overview. So that it can be used by any people who wanted to work on that. That was the idea.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any more questions? Okay. So I think it is very, a nice session to learn everything. So I will start by a quote. There is an African proverb: "The youth walk faster, but the elderly knows the road." So I think Professor Punyamurthy sir is there, Professor Nair is there. I cannot call them old, but they have not got their gray hair like this only. They have cultured it. We are having still the black hair. So I think you are the persons you can show us the right path. We should not be diverted. You should not fascinated by this use of the fourth generation antibiotic. I think Professor Santanapalai may disagree with me because he's a professor of pharmacology. He teaches high quality generation of antibiotic and all these things. But it's the right time, as Dr. Juliet has mentioned, we should be a holistic veterinary medicine specialist. So we can approach seeing the symptom. We should not, when there is a ill, we should not use the quick pill. Rather, we should find out the root cause, how it is happening. So now the concept has come that is herbal conservation medicine, which are not only effective but also of low cost. The herbal formulations are very user friendly and more particularly women friendly. This will definitely help us for a sustainable livelihood development for the poor and tribal livestock keepers. So with this, I want to thank today's speakers, Dr. Juliet De Caster and Professor Dr. M.N.B. Nair, Professor Punyamurthy sir, Professor S. Kumar, Dr. Santanapalai, and all the participants who are here. We will close before closing this meeting. I will have a formal announcement. Tomorrow, at the same time, we are going to start another lecture series where there are two speakers. Dr. Suresh Gadani, he is a veterinarian, but he's working as assistant director in the CCRS Kerala. He has been instrumental in developing a lot of pharmacopoeia when he was working and monographs when he was working in the National Institute of Ayurveda Research and Hospital that was known as CCRS in 2009 to 14. He will speak about the veterinary Ayurveda and its importance. And our second speaker is Dr. Prasad. He is the senior technical head at Indian Herbs. He will speak about the research and development and how they have reached at the global level. So I request all of them to join us at the same time to have a good insights of our global veterinary Ayurveda. Thank you all. Sir, with permission from Dr. Nair.
One question. Sunday at 7:30, 8 o'clock. Sunday.
Sunday we have the validity session from 7 to 7:40. We have a panel session, and from 7:40 to 8:30 we have the validity session.
Why I asking is shall I call that Ayurveda person? That's why I asked.
Sir. We will be very happy. We will be very happy to meet him in the validity session. Let us listen from the horse mouth what he is practicing, sir. And I think when I will invite you and him also. So you can introduce him properly because so then he can speak and you can complement his treatment also because he may not be speak clearly. So you can
speak in Malayalam. He cannot speak in English. He may speak in Malayalam, then I'll translate.
We will be indebted for you, sir, for that. Thank you, sir, and namaste, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good day. Thank you, Juliet.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye to all. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye to everyone.
Bye, Juliet. I will send you, Juliet, all the numbers what I have taken. I will send you. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, evening.
Yeah. Thank you.